Hey guys, so I want to do a spiritual satsang with you. At some point, the audio might cut off because I didn't load the battery of the microphone, but it should go for a couple of minutes. So, spiritual satsang, what does it mean? It means realizing, awakening to the truth of who you are. And there's a couple of intricate details to it when you're new to being awakened to the self. So, first of all, the easiest way to become aware of the true self is go into the state of zero effort. So you just relax, do zero effort, just become aware of the now. Don't try to focus on anything. You're not doing anything. You're just exactly not doing. You're as much as possible not doing anything, but you're not even trying to do not do anything. You're just here. And then you can ask yourself, who or what is that is actually aware of what remains left, what remains when you fully let go? So there's just awareness. And behind that awareness is just basically beingness. So you're just here as here-ness. And now come a couple of things that I'm going to say, because the ego, as soon as you go into that space, or you let go into that space, semantically correct, the ego pops up a lot with excuses why not to do it, what to push, where to push it, and so forth. And that's all you don't need, because you are that awareness. You are not the thoughts or the energy that's trying to push something somewhere. So while all of that can happen, it's not the core essence of who you are. So there's an underlying permanence of beingness that is who you truly are. And we misidentify our I or personhood to be the self, but it's not true. And this is what you recognize during spiritual awakening, that you realize you can just be here as awareness, just here right now. And even when thoughts come or don't come, you're still fully the self, you're still fully here. And you recognize that you don't need to push anything. You don't need to become anything, because you're already that. And it is in itself complete. And it has always been complete. The moment you drop everything, you recognize that completeness. And it has something in it which basically allows you to feel, it's so natural. It's like your natural state. Your natural state is to just be in this beingness, that you learn to easily rest in it, because you're not trying to become anything anymore. So you're just like, sometimes I jokingly say it's like a lobotomy. You're basically just like sitting like this and being completely empty. But it is in reality totally full, because you are the consciousness, and that consciousness can never be more or less. That awareness, that beingness can never be more or less. And this is why awakening is such a boon, such a beautiful thing, because you recognize that you've never been missing anything. Everything was already always here. It's just that superficially things are moving, like oceans, like waves on the ocean, but you're the ocean of completeness. So you don't need these before you think you need these waves, so you concentrate on the superficial waves, the emotions, the thoughts. You concentrate on all of that. Or for example, there's a woman which I love a lot, like a lot, like a lot. Okay, I really, really, really love her. It's like it's like I think I've never liked a woman that much, and it's really like very strong. It's like yeah, it's like I've never felt that. It's not, but it's like a smooth thing. It's not like a heavy thing. You know, because when people love, it's usually like a heavy thing. For me, it's just like I don't know. It's like I don't know. It's just something different, and I can't explain it. But the thing is, here comes the thing that realizing the self who I am makes me understand that I'm already complete in that sense. My body, my energy, my soul is maybe pulling in that direction. Not just maybe, but I do for myself feel that when I let go of everything and I just become aware, then in that moment there's a completion it's complete anyway, and it was always complete. So, and just because some other person comes into your life doesn't make you more than you already are. This is something, and this goes for everything, not just people. This goes for materialism, for experiences. Nothing that you can experience in life can make you more of what you already are. And what we're trying to do, we're trying to basically uh, attach and pull that in. We try to attach and pull that in, not realizing it, that you cannot be more than you already are. You can maybe try to control the experience, or you can try to have a little bit more of the same experience, but the self, which is the awareness in which everything is perceived, which you truly are, cannot be more than it already is. And that is a massive, massive, massive change. And very few people truly spiritually awaken to that realization. And it's literally, it's like a massive, massive, massive change. Because even if you have something that pulls you very strongly, whatever it is, be it negative, be it positive, it cannot affect the awareness, the beingness you are. And this is the huge spiritual teaching of non-duality and Advaita Vedanta. And there's so many also neo-Advaita, or a lot of people that are misunderstanding it or misrepresenting it, because the awakening for them hasn't truly happened. They're intellectualizing the awakening, and they're making ideas about the awakening. But in trueness, it's in truth, it's you just let go and you're just aware. There's no added explanation to it. There is no, oh my God, I need to add these layers of information so you understand. It's literally you're removing all layers until you realize the only thing that's left is beingness. And that beingness, when fully established and marinating, or being aware, or resting, or abiding as that self, there is a spaciousness to it. And it becomes very kind of like the experience of the awareness. No, I would say the perfume of that recognition, and resting in that recognition is, for example, a little bit more heart spacious, more intuition, more awareness, um, not as reactive, those kind of things. But those kind of are peels that layer off of the energetic body as you rest more and more in it. And that's why teachers like Mooji suggest that you marinate in it as often as possible, because these kind of layers seemingly uh, seem to fall off. These layers fall off, and then you're just, it makes it very natural to just be aware of it all the time and just rest in it all the time without getting sucked into different stories and things that are happening. And it has to do also a lot with trust, but the trust becomes natural at a point because the funny thing is a lot of people like read or watch movies or are involved in discussions, and for me it has become very natural to just be in that beingness without trying to add any information. So when I tell people I don't read, they get like confused. It's like, what do you mean you don't read? Or I hardly listen to music. What do you mean you don't listen to music? Because I already recognize that nothing can be added to that beingness. I can enjoy, for example, music, dancing to it and so forth as an experience of free energetic expression, but it doesn't add to who I am. So it doesn't, I already am fully that awareness. And that goes for everything. So the more intense something tries to dock onto me, like information by whatever audio, video, reading. For example, if I listen to conversations that are very heavy in identification, I usually tend to just leave that and not be interested. Sometimes I entertain it myself just for like a little bit, but when it continues too much, and this is the problem, well, it's not a problem, but when you're fully awakened and you come in touch. So this woman that I'm truly into, she kind of likes, she prefers to be present and with touch. Her love language is also touch for me as well, and that puts much more presence into the room than if you go into the conversational stuff. So that makes a huge difference as well. And and that's the thing, a conscious relationship is much more focused on being present than informational. And because it recognizes that the beingness in its presence is enough. You don't need information to make the relationship better. You can't even, it's impossible. So on an intellectual level, of course, you can figure out things, how you should, but in more deeper is just the presence as you are with the other person, without agenda, without, push and pull, whatever that there is. And you start to fall in love with just wanting to be. And then there is a little bit of back and forth because the ego or the identification, the personhood, has a lot of excuses to not rest in beingness. But there is a moment where you truly, once you truly recognize that that is your essence, it becomes 100% natural. And so, for example, sometimes I can watch people in the eyes like for minutes, hours on end if I want to, and it's like a natural thing because I just don't think. I'm just there as awareness. I'm not projecting anything or receiving anything from them. I'm just there as awareness. So I can watch somebody half an hour into their eyes without, having a single thought. And also, there's some, like I said, it exudes or it has this perfume of different things. So, for example, as you rest more in the self, Kundalini opens up more, energies open up more. You start to receive energy from the top, which goes into the heart, which gives you heart intuition. It's a very soft, subtle energy, which tells you what you could be doing, or what you feel that you need to do next. That's kind of like the soft heart intuition. You don't even need to think about it; you will just feel it. And especially it's good for people who are very unsure about where to go in life, that are not receiving signals. What should I do? The best thing is literally to just abide as the self in absolute silence. By the way, this whole thing, abiding in the self and so forth, it's not meditation, because a meditator does something. A meditator has a beginning, a continuation, and an end of some certain meditation. The jnani, the knower of the true self, he is always aware that he's the self, and there is no need to meditate because even the meditation cannot give him anything. So he's just absolutely present without an intent to push anything anywhere or give anything certain attention. Just be aware as beingness. And that is sufficient for the Jnani, the knower of the truth, because there's literally nothing more than you can add to it. This is why also science and all of these things in Maya, in the illusion of reality, it does make some sense. But in the totality of things, including so-called life, death, birth, all of everything combined, incarnations maybe, those are just superficial experiences. Even birth, life, and death are just superficial experiences in the container of the beingness, the awareness you are. And that's why we give it so much attention, because we put so much energy on there. But literally, as you are aware of the self as beingness, you realize you don't have to give anything attention if you don't want to. But the ego wants to give attention, so the identification happens. And the identification usually is desired by the organism, because the identification with an object, with a form, with a thought, with a religion, whatever it is, gives you the temporary illusion of permanence. So while you are as consciousness already permanent, and you are as beingness permanent and indestructible, there is the personhood, which is kind of split from that, the body and the personhood, and it thinks that if you focus on the form, that you get into permanence, you get into infinite life. But you are already infinite life, not the body, because that's also part of the illusion of that experience. But the beingness you are, just as awareness here, is already permanent. It's never gonna be less or more. Never. So even in the death of the body, beingness is still there, because it's literally everything. And then there's of course no separation and so forth. But you don't even have to go into these intellectual topics. So and there's also no point in trying to explain anything intellectually too much. For the very beginner of non-duality, it's kind of helpful, but then later you must come into the experiential, which is just quiet, becoming aware of awareness itself as being here without any need to push anything anywhere in any direction. It's all here. And you should, when you wake up in the morning and you come with an energy from your dreams and your sleep, oftentimes we pick up the phone, we go immediately into personhood, into identification. And Mooji also in here suggests that you take like an half an hour to just become aware of the presence of the consciousness, that you woke up, your body's conscious, beingness is behind it, kind of. You are that beingness. And you just become aware of it for like half an hour. So you don't get, for the rest of the day, you don't immediately get sucked into something. Which is a very good exercise. And the more you awaken, the more you realize that everything that people do is out of that identification, putting so much identity, so much focus, so much energy on these things. And it never feels truly right. It never feels truly at home, because you're always avoiding seeing your true self. That's why the best way to go about it is literally the state of zero effort. Just sitting here, absolutely zero effort. And when a thought comes, you need to put effort into it to give the thought attention. Recognize that it's super subtle. And if you drop the effort of giving the thought attention, then the thought immediately drops away. And here comes the super funny thing. At some point you recognize it's literally ultra easy to get rid of any thought because you just decide to not give it attention. Because you recognize that the true self, which is just pure emptiness, is already enough. And when you recognize that's your true identity, you don't need thoughts anymore. I literally can choose any time to drop any kind of thought at any moment in time. And when people ask me, how do you recognize spiritually awakened people? I think that's one of the major ways that they can drop anything, anytime, no matter what. Because they can literally detach from it. They don't give it attention. Doesn't mean that it immediately leaves the body, but you can recognize that there were, for example, let's say you're in a heated debate and you're with a spiritually awakened person, and the other person says to the spiritually awakened person, can we drop this? The spiritually awakened person will be able to drop it immediately without discussion. Especially when there's a reminder to, hey, let's just go into silence. Then it's super easy. Don't try to be anything. Try to be nothing. Or no, let go into nothing. Not even try. Let go into nothing. Be okay just being. Be okay not giving thoughts attention.